Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of the Dohyo. We're going to recap the Aki Basho and learn what Shodai showed me. Salt acceptance.
Throw the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo.
Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Dohyo here on Mr. J-Wag's channel. We are talking all things sumo, but right now we are talking about this amazing basho that just happened. Okay, Shodai. 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 Shodai wins his first tournament. That is absolutely the story of this basho. It's amazing. No one I knew expected this. No one I knew was throwing this out as a thing that they were expecting. Like, maybe it's a possibility. He's a sekiwaka. He's been getting better. I just did a long episode about it. But yeah, like, Shodai? We're gonna get to all that in 1 second, but right now, sumo shout out. I would like to give a sumo shout out to the people over at Nato Sumo over on YouTube. They are a great way for people who do not necessarily have a reliable way to watch the sumo matches They've been having a lot of trouble with the YouTubes and the copyright strikes recently, but they were back for the whole basho. I got to watch my cool matches without the 36-hour time delay that NHK gives us. And yeah, they have a Ko-Fi account, so if you can throw a little their way, throw that out to Nato Sumo. Thanks again, sumo shout out. Okay, so let's talk about the September 2020 basho. Obviously, the big deal is we had no Yokozuna. We knew this was going to be sort of a free-for-all. No one knew who quite was going to be able to come out in front. A lot of people were thinking Terunofuji was going to pull one out. A lot of people thinking Asanoyama. I myself thought Takayumi. Shodai. Now, we can dig into Shodai here for a little bit, or we could just watch the episode I just dropped, actually, during this past basho, all about Shodai and how his technique has changed for the better. Primarily, it's his tachiai. It has improved so much in the last year. That and his extracurricular work with Yokozuna Kakuryu has seemed to take this very strong Rikishi, who has never been quite so consistent as we would like, and now has him doing the best sumo of his career. So check that episode out. It's right now. Now, this was going to be a weird one because there, of course, were no Yokozuna. One of my first bold predictions. I actually predicted it before either of them went officially Kyujo, so I'm still going to count it. But yes, Shodai came in. No cartoon sumo this time. He was fighting at the top of his game, ended up beating all the other contenders that he faced. He totally earned this, and he's earned the rank of Ozeki. So Shodai, I have to admit, as a person who has publicly been less than happy with Shodai in the past, I have changed my mind. I am now a Shodai stan, Shodai fan, and I now understand what Shodai showed me. Last time I'll say it, I promise. Now, there were a few other exceptional performances, so here's Uncle Sumo's Attaboys. We're all going to be in agreement on this one. Tobizaru, the 28-year-old rookie, first time in Makuuchi, almost ended up walking away with the whole thing. What a story that would have been. This guy I don't know a whole lot about. This is the first time I've watched him for a full 15-day tournament, and I have to say, he is fascinating. One of my favorite things about Tobizaru, other than his shikona, which means flying monkey, he's the first wrestler I've come across where his primary kimarite is hataki komi, the slapdown. And then after that come the more common Oshidashi and Yorikiri. But this tells me this guy is going to be interesting to watch. He's going to be very reactive in his sumo. He's a little guy. He's sort of like Ento, but like thick. He also seems to have a very engaged personality, and I've never seen anyone smile more when losing. And that just is a great energy to sort of have out there. He's really happy to be here. He got a special prize. He has 10 wins. I'd like to think this is the start of something big and something exciting, but there are two ways to go with this. I just remember back in the day when I first started watching back in 2016, and there was another young dude coming out, and he was like, oh, I'm young, and I'm going to get 10 wins, and I'm really little, and that's weird. And yeah, Ishiura was a very cool dude, and he won his Kanto show, and he got 10-5 in his first tournament, and then, well, we know where sort of Ishiura has been. He sort of lived in Juryo in the mid-Mega Shira ranks, mid to low Mega Shira ranks ever since. So, Tobizaru had a lot going for him in this tournament. He had a lot of low Megashiras to feast on. And then, I think as he got aggressively promoted, his ability to sort of think on his feet and his unorthodox style flummoxed some of the other wrestlers, which gave him a sort of surprise bonus that you sometimes would see with Abi when they had never seen the sumo, that is, Abi Sumo. I miss him. So yes, let's love Tobizaru for who he is. I want to see him in the Makuuchi division for a few more tournaments. Hey, a few more years would be awesome, but let's temper our expectations and not throw him into the Sanyaku quite yet, but attaboy. Another attaboy, Kirabayama. Now, I made a big prediction about him one basho ago, and it didn't quite pan out, but this time, he came back. It seemed like he had a real game plan. He went Kyujo and came back and still ended with his Kachikoshi. So Kirabayama. Attaboy. And one more Uncle Sumo's attaboys for my boy Onosho. He had a tough tournament last time, but he turned it around, got double-digit wins, like his high school buddy/rival Takakesho, darkened up that Mawashi, got his head on right, got double-digit wins. Attaboy. And another attaboy, and this is going to be part of one of my predictions. I had a parlay prediction, which I got 2/3 of. I said that Ichinojo, Kotoshoho, and Enho were all going to get Kachikoshi. That didn't quite happen, but parlays are parlays, they're all or nothing. I didn't get that one, but Kotoshoho did manage to stick out for me. He did better than his 8 and 7 in the last tournament at a higher rank, which shows me the problem isn't going to be necessarily him learning how to beat these other people. It may be him learning how to grow into his body and become the maximum sumo wrestler he can be. He is my dark horse pick for the next Yokozuna. Ichinojo, of course, came back up from Juryo, waited till the last day to get his Kachikoshi, but he'll be there next tournament. Good for you, buddy. Enho had a rough first week, but I have to believe that he's not used to being the #1 guy in his stable, as Ishihara and Hakuho were both out for this tournament. So he had a lot of extra pressure. He probably was not training to the same level he was normally training at because those two guys were gone. So, Enho, understandable. I expect him to come back better next tournament. And one other attaboy to another smaller gentleman who's getting out there and kicking some butt and taking some shikona, Wakataka Kage, everyone's favorite multi-voweled shikona. He hit the Makuuchi division last year, then immediately got hurt after 4 consecutive wins, and then has been working his way back up. He looks amazing right now. His technique looks on point, and I think we may be seeing somewhat of a run of the Pixies. Quick sidebar. When I started watching sumo in 2016, there were not a lot of guys below the 135 kilogram mark, or about the 300 pound mark. Most sumo wrestlers sort of live between the 300 and 400 pound mark. So, when I started watching sumo in 2016, there was only one wrestler who was under 135 pounds. That was Harumafuji. Then Ishiura came in that tournament, made his debut, and he was the second one there, but there were only 2 under 300 pounds. But there were 5 over 400. Flash forward to this tournament, we had 6 members of the Banzuke over 400 pounds, but we had 7 under 300 pounds. So my question is this just a Banzuke of luck? Is this just one of those things where we have a confluence of very skilled, smaller Rikishi at one time? Or is this a trend where we are starting to go away from the larger and into the smaller body type as sort of a more flexible and sustainable body type for sumo? I mean, Chiyotairyu lost a lot of weight before this tournament. Ichinojo has dropped at least 50 pounds since his top weight. Perhaps, much like in basketball, we are going to start de-emphasizing size and emphasizing mobility, quickness, and just like attacking us. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. Let me know who your favorite Pixies are down in the comments. Quick sidebar. Alright, some other observations. There was some sadness in this tournament. There were a lot of older guys who I've liked for a good long time who were just not really doing too good. Kota Shogiku, one of my favorites. I did an episode about him in the Shadow of Hakuho series. A very awesome, just solid class act. He looks like he's nearing the end of his rope pretty soon. Did not look good in this tournament at all. And Tochi Noshin, the giant Georgian bear, has suddenly turned into a pusher, thruster, slapdown artist. Okay, like, I am never going to, like, denigrate anyone for changing their sumo because they want to make some extra money before they retire. But, like, this is sort of like watching Randy Johnson go from pitching a fastball to being, like, a knuckleballer and, like, using a funky windup. It's just not how I'm used to seeing this guy win. But as long as nothing's getting destroyed in your knee, cut that check. And the other big sadness I can think of right now is that I can only think what the after party for this basho was for the Shikoroyama-beya. Of course, they have two Sekitori, Abe, who went 0-15 because he was suspended, and Oki in Juryo, who went 0-15 because he lost 15 straight matches. There's got to be a black light, like a keg of sake somewhere in the corner, someone's off crying, a Morrissey album's playing somewhere.
Oh yeah, my dad's real pissed too, eh? Hey, man,
Yeah, I'm fine. No, I'm fine.
you alright, buddy?
I'm fine.
Hey, buddy, come on. Hey, no, dude, don't.
I'm fine.
No, dude, don't do that.
It must not be a fun night. I had the bold prediction that former Ozeki Takayasu was going to get 9+ wins, and he did it. I would be very surprised if we do not see him at Komusubi or at least Mega Shira 1 in the next tournament. Good on you, Takayasu. Nailed it. And even more nailed it, my bolder prediction, Takayasu was going to get more wins than returning champion Terano Fuji. And in fact, I specifically predicted Terano Fuji was going to get 8 wins and out. Yeah, don't get many. I'm going to live this one up. My semi-bold prediction of both Yokozuna missing the tournament, of course, came true. That full prediction was both Ozeki were going to get 10+ wins, but neither would be in contention on the final day. Takakeisho, of course, had a wonderful sort of renaissance in his sumo in this tournament. He looks healthy, he looks great. Came back, got 10 wins, and was possibly going to have a playoff on the last day, but Shodai said, no, I'm going to take it now. Takakeisho has been in Ozeki for a little over a year, but he's been Kyujo about half that time. And in that little over a year, he's already dropped down to Sekiwake and had to bump himself back up. I think this is only his second double-digit tournament at Ozeki. So the thing I'm looking for in the next tournament from Takakeisho is consistency. I would love to see it if he took another Yusho and made a Yokozuna run. I just think his physical limitations are going to keep him from doing that. But in these current Banzuke, who knows who's going to be able to pull off 2 straight Yusho? Might as well be Takakeisho. And Asanoyama. Okay, so he extended his streak. He's now gone 6 consecutive tournaments with double-digit wins, but I gotta say, this was not an impressive 10-5. First of all, he lost his first 3 matches. That is not a thing you can do when you're an Ozeki and expect to contend, but somehow he did. Second of all, he had 2 Fusen wins in this tournament, which means he only won 8 matches in the tournament. Now, you may think I'm being a little hard on him, but if you go back over the last year, or even just the last 5 basho, he's had 4 freebie wins, which is a lot. And again, I'm not saying this to denigrate Asanoyama. I think he's a really awesome dude. I think he's a class act. I want his sumo to improve. But we have to figure out if this is sort of a circumstantial thing or if this is just something that Asanoyama needs to get over. And I think it's a little bit of both. Guys like him, guys like Takeyumi, unfortunately, I think are taking a step back in their sumo right now because they don't have anyone to tune up against. Guys like Shodai, guys like Endo, guys like Tobizaru do. But on the flip side of that, we have had the better part of a year now where we have had no Yokozuna finishing tournaments. Like 1 tournament where we had 2 Yokozunas finish. So they've had multiple opportunities to come in and have these Yokozuna runs, they just haven't grabbed the moment yet. And you're saying, well, it's a tough thing to do. I get that, but if you are truly the next Yokozuna, Tokushoryu shouldn't be taking home any cups if you're healthy. I know, I'm not trying to be hard on Asanoyama. He was under an obscene amount of pressure because he's the top guy on the Banzuke now, and he's never won a tournament in the Sanyaku. So, I'm looking at Asanoyama if he can take the next step up, and if all he's going to be is a solid Ozeki, that's awesome. He can be a great Ozeki, but right now, I don't see anything from Asanoyama that suggests a Yokozuna run in the near future. The things I've noticed in almost all the Yokozuna, with the possible exception of Kakuryu, is that they have great technique, and they also have great swag. They have a little bit of that, yeah, I'm gonna win, and who are you? Aspect to them. Hakuho's got it, Harumafuji had it, Kisano Sato definitely had some stank face on him. Kakuryu seems like he's got it, but he's nice enough, he's not gonna shove it in your face. Takakeisho definitely has it. I'm here for the Black Mawashi Darth Takakeisho action! And now we of course get to everyone's favorite parts of these videos, cause J-Wags was wrong.
J-Wags was wrong.
We've already mentioned I did not make my sumo parlay, and we mentioned that my Ozeki one was 75% right, but not quite there. We had some predictions that were totally off base. Now I said both Komusubi were going to get Makekoshi, but I also said that all the Sekiwake were going to get double-digit wins, and that did not happen. Shodai, of course, big champ, but Mitake Yumi, Daieisho, J-Wag was wrong on that one. That brings us to my other prediction, and Mitake Yumi. I said that Mitake Yumi was going to complete his Ozeki run and win a Yusho. Neither of those things happened. He got 8 and 7. He's still technically on Ozeki run, but if he doesn't get 14 wins or like at least a 13-win Yusho next time, I don't think it's going to happen. This is Mitake Yumi's third attempt at an Ozeki run, and he just hasn't been able to pull it off. And like Asanoyama, I gotta ask, dude, what are you waiting for? This was a turn with no Yokozuna. We had Terunofuji lose 2 right off the bat. We had Asanoyama lose 3 right off the bat. You have a winning career record against both Asanoyama and Takakeisho. And you keep losing to Megashira in the first week and in the second week. And it's like, I feel Mitake Yumi had like a shoulder devil like right before important matches that just tells him, hey Mitake Yumi, pull. I think maybe I'm to blame for this. I think I'm putting a lot of pressure on Mitake Yumi, who has a lot of pressure from all the people in his stable and like that party mom energy he gets whenever he goes home to Nagoya. So like, I'm gonna take that pressure off him. Mitake Yumi, not gonna be my Yusho pick next time. I just want you to take care of you, get some good Keiko in, and like, yeah, just get your head on straight, dude. I think you can do this. Come on. No. Don't go for it. Pull. I don't care where your feet are. Pull. Thank you so much for coming back to the Dohyo. We have a few more exciting episodes coming up. We have a Shadow of Hakuho coming up, dedicated to Kisano Sato and his early Yokozuna promotion. You're gonna love it. I've also come up with a new metric to celebrate Hakuho called the 40 Club.
Celebrate Hakuho.
That is upcoming, and I'm gonna be doing a deep dive on Yokozuna Tama no Umi. So if you are geeking out about sumo history, you are not gonna wanna miss that. So everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay strong. And I will see you next time on the Dohyo.